guys, what is up? My name is Meaghan. Welcome back to Book Talk with Meg, and today I'm here with a very special video to me, and that video is how this book changed my life. This might sound kind of dramatic for a lot of people because this is not a book which you would think would change someone's life. This is not a self-help book, but I think in our lives we all kind of find anchors in reading, and we can find characters which we relate to very strongly and storylines that we gravitate towards, and I haven't gotten that in a book in a really long time, and I finally did, and it's very much a blessing. So without further ado and without more mushy-gushy feelings, let's get into it. So the book I'm talking about is Small Town Hearts by Lillie Vale. This is a young adult contemporary novel and also a debut novel for this author. This book is nothing very much out of the ordinary when it comes to summer contemporary romances. It follows our main character, Babe, which is short for Barbara. Our main character is just done with her senior year of high school, and she is also living in a small town of like a coastal area of Maine. Babe really has no plans for the future. She's very unsure what she wants to do with her life. She does work at this cafe, which she really would love to own later on. She's a manager there, and she always bakes a lot. It's one of her strong passions. But aside from that, she doesn't really know what she wants to do. Her two best friends, Penny and another boy, which I'm blanking on, have always been by her side, but they are starting college, and she wants that summer to be their last kind of hurrah all together before everybody starts more of a grown-up life. But things don't always go as you plan them. Also, quick mention, Babe is a bisexual main character, and we also see her ex-girlfriend, her first relationship, who is a lesbian, but she's not out of the closet yet, so this book does deal with finding your sexuality. But this is not why the book is special to me, but I can really appreciate the fact that there are LGBTQ elements in here, but I am not part of that spectrum. But I also think diversity is so important. To resume the plot of this book, basically, Babe starts working in the summer, and something happens with her best friends that kind of corrupts the entire relationship, and now all of them are on their own. So it's about Babe learning to cope with change. It's also her forming new relationships with people she didn't think she'd have relationships. For example, this girl who's her age, who also works at the cafe with her, as well as a summer boy. That's where it gets interesting, because Babe's #1 rule in life is not to date summer boys or tourists, because they come and go, and once you get attached to someone, it very much becomes difficult to say goodbye. Babe also has resistance because her last relationship ended, and Babe had to take a lot of time to cope with the loss of that relationship and grow to be her own independent person. That's pretty much the plot of this story, but now I'm going to go into the reasons why I think this book, for me, really changed my life and kind of brought back the roots of my own person. I relate to Babe in a lot of different spectrums. I think sometimes, not just sometimes, but our life experiences shape who we are as people as much as a book can shape who I am. What has happened to me in my life always has an impact on the choices I'm going to make. Obviously, I've had relationships end, and I think while reading this book, I did realize that everybody leaves a mark on you, whether that's good or bad, and I just think that I realized that that was one of the things I was good at, moving on, learning from my mistakes, and creating a better person. But I kind of felt for Babe because when a relationship ends, it's never really easy, and I could really feel her pain, and it kind of reminded me what it means to lose people you care about. It reminded me of my family, and it kind of reminded me of gratitude and how taking people for granted and relationships for granted is very easy to do, but it's such a bad thing to do. Like, that's one of the messages of this book that became clear to me, and that was also clear in the fact that Babe had a lot of mishaps with her friendships, but they were so valuable to her that she wasn't willing to let them go without a fight. And I think that reminded me that when something in life is very important to you, you should go ahead 100 times, like 100 times yes, because you never know the outcome, but you don't know unless you try. And when something's worth it, it's worth the effort. Another thing that especially touched me about this book and kind of got to me was the idea of change. Babe is in her senior year of high school and everybody's going on and doing bigger and better things, and I read this at a time where I learned that certain things in my life were not going to go as planned, even though I made conscious efforts to try to get there. And sometimes life sucks and you're the only one that's really there for yourself. And I think this book was there in a good time, in a good place for me, which is why it's so valuable to my person. This is a message I needed, and seeing Babe cope with her changes in her life and the discussions in this book about change and how change is not always bad and it's okay not to have your life planned for years ahead kind of reassured me and made me realize that I'm on my own journey and I'm always going to be the #1 person that's there for myself. So I need to accept the fact that not everything is going to go as planned all the time. And it kind of grounded me and helped me cope with my emotions, which you can clearly see are still very raw, but I have this book as a rock for me. And there's also the element of places and memories, which is very funny, but I've always associated a big part of myself with this campground I've been going to ever since I was a child, which is really funny because I only visit it a few times a year, but I've never been a happier person than when I step foot on that campground and when I go to that lake, and I just feel like 100% myself when I'm there, and it's the only place I feel like I belong. The air there, the smells there, everything about that place makes me feel where I belong. And Babe has the same sense of belonging, and she talks a lot about that with her city in Maine, like that little coastal city where everybody knows each other, and she talks about the smells and the foods and the memories and how that place never forgets the people who visits. And I found that to be extremely touching and extremely well said, because I think a lot of my character growth and my person as a whole was built on that and the foundations of that campground, and I just truly hope that the campground doesn't forget the memories, like I won't forget the memories. And that was just a very touching part. At the end of the book she talks a lot about how that town doesn't forget the people who go there, and she talks about all the memories and the smells, and I got very emotional because I think that we all have that one place in our lives that means so much to us, and it just reminded me of all the good things that life has ahead of me, and that it's not impossible for me not to get closer to that area if it's something I would want to do with my life. And just overall, this book really struck a chord with me and was there when I needed it. It's also funny because this reminds me of the book I considered my favorite book of all times when I was a younger, like pre-teen / early teenage years. That was The Summer of First and Last. I'll insert a picture here, which I reread every summer, and I think this is like my grown-up version of that book, and it means so much to me that I could find a book that was there for me when I needed it, and that was just, it was so simple yet so touching and so needed in my life, and I could not recommend this book enough. Honestly, you guys, if you guys like contemporary books, romance stories, are looking for something with LGBTQ romances, anything, I suggest this. Honestly, I'm not saying this is going to be as deep for everyone, but it is such an amazing summer read. Highly suggest this, and you should give it a go. This is a debut novel, so it's always great to encourage new authors, and that's all I have to say for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. You guys let me know what book has changed your life, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!